We'll just quickly go through all the brainstorming MCQs. Okay, let's go ahead with taking question number one. Question number one, a doctor makes a false medical certificate of rest for a patient. The patient commits a crime during at that time. The doctor will be penalized for false certificate under, if you recall, some time earlier we did a session where we talked about any IPC which has to do something with evidence. They fall under section 191 to 201 IPC, and in that section particularly IPC 197 talks about punishment for issuing false certificates. So correct answer is option B, 197. Keep on going. Yes, I can see a lot of students are answering themselves also. Question number two, a witness comes to give evidence. The judge asks him, the distance was calculated using a measuring tape or by guessing only. When can a judge do that? The correct answer is option number D, any time. The correct answer is option number D, any time. Please recall in last year's NEET examination, similar kind of questions was propped up where a lawyer was asking a leading question to the witness. The leading question to the witness could be asked two times, one during cross-examination and second during the examination in chief itself if the witness turns hostile. This is similar kind of question, only here the judge is asking the question. We need to remember, in his courtroom judge can ask a question to a witness anytime. Similar format of question, just the language is different. Okay. Question number three, in a criminal court, a cross-examining lawyer demands the witness to come on another date for further progress of cross-examination. The correct answer is option number D again. For cross-examinations, there is no upper time limit. Okay, remember, no upper time limit for cross-examination in India. Okay, so the take-home message here is that if a cross-examination of a witness is being done in a courtroom, there is no upper time limit for that. Good, great. Question number 4. Not a golden word in the definition of hurt, IPC 319. We did that also some time back, and this question popped up some years back in NEET PG entrance examination itself. The correct answer is reputation. Pain, disease and infirmity, all three are golden words for the definition of hurt. Reputation is the golden word which is included in the definition of injury. Remember, reputation, body, mind, property and reputation are four golden words which come under the definition of injury under section 44 of IPC. Okay, question number 5. A female comes for treatment to a doctor in emergency. She tells the doctor that she fell on the road. On examination, she had a lot of bruises on her back and inner thighs. The doctor has strong suspicion that she may have been sexually assaulted. What should the doctor do? Remember, we talked about section 357C CRPC. The doctor, whether he is working in private or government setup, they are bound to provide initial treatment and report the incident to police if they have a strong suspicion that a female may be a victim of rape. Correct answer is option number B. Great going, everyone. Okay, question number 6. True about cadaveric spasm is, cadaveric spasm, very important area when we talk about muscular rigidity post death. Rigor mortis, normal phenomena that develops. Cadaveric spasm is a specialized phenomena. True about cadaveric spasm is, it bypasses, option number C, the stage of primary relaxation. What happens as a normal phenomena is death. The muscles after that go into a stage of primary muscle relaxation, and from there it goes to a stage of rigor mortis, and from there it goes to a stage of secondary muscle relaxation. Okay, now what happens in cadaveric spasm? The stage of primary muscle relaxation is bypassed, and the body, when it is witnessed after death, it is already in a stage of muscular contraction. So primary muscle stage is completely bypassed, primary relaxation phase. Okay, next is question number 7. Question number 7 says, upon pressing, the post-mortem lividity on the back of a dead body shifts completely. The correct statement is, remember about 2 hours back when we were talking about post-mortem lividity, I told you we will be talking about a concept called as fixation. Okay, so when we talk about post-mortem staining, also called as post-mortem lividity, remember fixation is a phenomena where post-mortem staining fixes on the area where it has developed. Fixation starts at 6 hours post death and it completes, that is, the post-mortem staining is completely fixed at the area where it has developed in 12 hours. So the time period of progression of fixation is 6 to 12 hours. Thus we find there are 3 time zones, you can say. One is the first 6 hours, that is 0 to 6 hours, then we have 6 to 12 hours, then we have greater than 12 hours. Fixation is none in first 6 hours. So if the blood has not fixed to the area where post-mortem staining has developed, when we will press that area, there will be complete shifting. The post-mortem staining, when we press it, there will be blanching, the area will become pale. That is called as shifting of post-mortem staining. In 6 to 12 hours, there will be partial fixation, so there will be partial shifting. When we will press the area, the post-mortem staining will shift partially only. Greater than 12 hours, there will be complete fixation, so there will be no shifting. Okay, in our question, what did we see? Upon pressing the area, the post-mortem staining disappears from that area. It shifts completely, which means the death happened within the last 6 hours. That's the correct answer, option number C. Okay, so this question is a very interesting question. This question has been continuously asked last year in both the examinations, NEET PG examination as well as the centralized institutional examination. Okay, look at the picture. This picture shows a laceration on forehead of a person. The question is, a person suffers the above shown injury on forehead as he is attacked by lathi. In the examination, the lathi as a weapon of offense was also not given at all, only the picture was given. Identify the injury. See, the clinchers in the question is forehead and lathi. Lathi is a blunt weapon, forehead is an area which has bone in the proximity. So when a blunt weapon is going to hit on an area of the body where the bone is in proximity, the skin is going to be crushing between the two blunt objects and split laceration will happen. The margins of the injury are very, very regular. This is an example of incised looking lacerated wound. The correct answer is incised looking lacerated wound. What happens in incised looking lacerated wound? The skin gets crushed between two blunt objects. The medical legal importance is the margins are very regular. Okay, next question, question number 9. Look at the picture again. Again a picture based question, a post-mortem change. We talked about this post-mortem change also in our DVT session. True regarding the color change seen in the image is, the color change seen in the image is a concept called as marbling, a post-mortem decomposition change. And true is that this happens due to formation of sulf-methemoglobin, reduction of hemoglobin. So correct answer again is option number B. Great. Okay, question number 10. A healthy child plucked the fruit while going to play. He consumed the fruit. After some time, he developed symptoms of irritability, restlessness, confusion, inability to pass urine, hot skin and photophobia. All the things here are pointing towards what? They are pointing towards high atropinic activity. Select the poison and the antidote. So out of the list, the poison and the antidote which fits exactly with the symptoms that are given are option number A, Dhatura, and its antidote physostigmine. This is absolutely the same question that had come up in NEET PG examination. Okay, question number 11. Viscera in post-mortem examination is stored in very important area, because a lot of students, although they have been through their MBBS, many of them would have gone and watched autopsies being done in the dissection hall of the autopsy room, but they never pay attention that when viscera is being preserved, particularly in cases of poisoning, what is the preservative added? The correct answer is saturated solution of common salt. Many students, because they do not know this simple answer, go with the option of formalin. Option number C is not formalism. It should be formalin. Okay, which is not a right choice. Correct answer is saturated solution of common salt is the preservative used for preserving viscera. The exception is, we talked about this also in DVT session, the exception is viscera, if it is needed to be preserved in cases of sulfuric acid poisoning, the preservative is rectified spirit. That's an exception. Okay, question number 2. Gastric lavage is not contraindicated after ingestion of which acid? Most commonly we talk about that gastric lavage is commonly contraindicated if it is a corrosive, particularly sulfuric acid, where it is absolutely contraindicated. The reason is corrosives thin the stomach mucosa, because of which there is always a danger of impending perforation. Very high in cases of sulfuric acid. So which is one acid which does not thin the stomach mucosa? We again talked about it earlier. The correct answer is carbolic acid. Carbolic acid thickens the stomach mucosa. It creates a leathery stomach appearance, because of which doing a gastric lavage becomes really easy. Very small, minute informations. If you use your, whatever you have read, your knowledge logically, the answers are right in front of you. Posthumous child means, posthumous means after death. It's just a English word which is expressed like that. Posthumous means after death. So posthumous child means a child which has born after the death of the father. So answer number A is important. The time is less than 280 days. So a child gaining birth after the death of the father within 280 days of it is called as a posthumous child. These child are considered as legitimate to the died father. They are considered as legitimate to the died father. Question number 14. Which is the first organ to putrefy? Now this is a contrast question. Why? Because most commonly we talk about the last organ to putrefy. The last organ to putrefy in males is prostate, in females it is uterus. Okay, but what about the first organ to putrefy? Remember, when we were talking about the sequence of putrefaction, what did we talk about? That earliest putrefying organ is spleen. okay, is spleen, followed by liver, followed by brain, followed by heart, followed by kidney, SLBHK. Now, if you follow SLBHK in this sequence, which is the best answer to give here? The correct answer is brain. The brain amongst the four given options will putrefy at the earliest. Okay. Question number 15. Which of the following is not an example of privileged communication? First of all, what is privileged communication? Privileged communication is an exception to professional secrecy. Professional secrecy is that a doctor maintaining the health information about his own patient within himself. He doesn't tell it to anyone. That's professional secrecy maintained by a doctor. Privileged communication is an exception which can be done in certain situations. The situations are: number one, when the patient is threat to society. Number two, when the patient is threat to himself. The doctor has a reason to believe that the patient may harm himself, may kill himself because of his disease or disorder. Privileged communication can be made. Third, when the patient is threat to doctor, the doctor feels threatened by the patient. And fourth, when it is mandatory by law. So if the doctor gives any mandatory legal information into a legal channel, patient's privileged communication is not, patient's professional secrecy is not broken. These all are called as privileged communication. But privileged communication needs to be given to an appropriate authority. Okay, we talk all about this in our detailed talk when we hold all these chapters. So cases of food poisoning will be privileged communication because nodal agency of the government will be notified. So so it will be privileged communication. Informing airlines about pilot having refractive error, it's a privileged communication. Doctor is preserving people in society. Revealing patient's disease in insurance report, it's a privileged communication. Legal demand. What is not a privileged communication is without the consent of the patient, revealing patient's disease to the relatives. It's not privileged communication. It is breaking professional secrecy. Okay, question number 16. Sexual gratification with inanimate object of opposite sex. This concept is called as fetishism. Fetishism, or people who practice it, are called as fetish. They have desire or they get sexual gratification by articles of opposite sex. It could be clothing, it could be undergarments, it could be accessories, it could be their shoes. This concept is called as fetishism. Remember, in recent past, every alternate exam, one question from sexual paraphilias have started to come. Okay, in last year's NEET exam also one question from exhibitionism had come. So we are expecting one question which is high probability area from sexual paraphilias. Okay, question number 17. All of the following are true about judicial hanging except judicial hanging. Knot is placed beneath the left angle of mandible. Correct. Death is due to fracture dislocation of cervical vertebra. Correct. That is not due to compression of neck and asphyxia. Judicial hanging is slightly different. Okay. Lynching is a form of judicial hanging. Not correct. Person is allowed to drop for 5 meters. Correct. In judicial hanging there is about 4 to 6 meters drop that happens. So correct answer is option number C. Lynching, on the other hand, is mob violence. Lynching is mob violence. When people or a mob of people kill a person in violence, they may hang a person, they may do any other effective way to kill a person. Most commonly the word was used for hanging by mob as an anger expression. That's called as lynching. So lynching is not for form of judicial hanging. Okay, it's homicidal hanging rather. Remember. Okay, question number 18. Match the following poison and test. These kind of questions where extended matchings are required can be a part of NEET exam, but then some questions do come in INI CET kind of exams. March test. March test is done for arsenic. Remember, March test is done for arsenic. Silver nitrate test is done for aluminium phosphide. Cavit test is done for alcohol. Marquis test is done for opium. Okay, so correct answer here is 1E, 2B, 3D and 4A. These are some important tests. Their value nowadays are not as much. Many of them have been obsolete tests now with the advent of TLCs and many other qualitative and quantitative essays. But then their theoretical importance is there, that which test has been associated with detection of what poison. Question number 19. Paradoxical undressing, cause of death occurs due to. The answer is hypothermia. It's very old question, but still needs to be told again and again. Why? Because we are talking about undressing and people don't think that in hypothermia ever any person would undress. That's why it is called as paradoxical undressing. Okay, when a person is unable to get out of hypothermic conditions, what happens is that to maintain his central body heat, his peripheral vasculature contracts. But when he is not able to get out of the hypothermic condition, after a while the peripheral vascular contraction gives up, it becomes tired. So as the periphery relaxes, there is a reflex vascular dilatation, lot of blood reaches the periphery, he starts to feel hot, he undresses. But actually the external environment is still hypothermic and many of people die in this process. That's called as paradoxical undressing seen in hypothermia. Question number 20. First-hand knowledge refers to. First-hand knowledge is the concept which tells us understanding a situation by witnessing the situation. Okay, first-hand knowledge is witnessing the situation personally. So if I am walking down a road and I see that two people are fighting, I am witnessing the situation personally. So whatever is my observation, when I go and tell that observation in the court of law, that will be the first-hand knowledge that I have about that situation. And thus first-hand knowledge commonly refers to common witnesses. Okay, because if you will see all other options which are given here, opinion of a doctor in a court, expert witness. The doctor may not have witnessed the situation personally, but he is an expert in that field. He can still have an opinion just by looking at what has happened. If you provide him an history, he can give an opinion. Similarly, handwriting expert. He is an expert in handwriting. So he might not have seen a person writing by his own hand personally, but looking at the handwriting, he can give his opinion. Fingerprint expert, again an expert witness. So what is left is common witness, which is first-hand knowledge refers to common witnessing. Okay, question number 21. What did I tell you when you were doing DVT? Flower-based questions often come, and this is true about the poison shown in the picture. Is the picture here is purple color flower, aconite plant. What is true about aconite? Is it a spinal poison? No. Most toxic are root. Correct. Fatal dose is 1 crushed seed. No. This is fatal dose of Nux vomica, Cuchilla seed. Remember, 1 crushed seed. Cause of death is by cerebral depression. No, it's a cardiac poison. The cause of death is cardiac arrhythmia. So correct answer is option number B. Most toxics are root. Okay. You can see in this question or these kind of questions only picture of flower is given. You need to understand what is the plant by going through the picture of flower only. Question number 21. A young patient complains of abdominal pain. She also has lost her muscle power. She has a history of eating paint from the wall. Very important clincher. Eating paint from the wall. On her peripheral smear, RBCs have dotted appearance. Dotted appearance of RBC called as basophilic stippled appearance. Basophilic stippling of RBC. The enzyme deficiency which is going to be encountered is ALA dehydratase. What we are talking about here is lead poisoning. Question number 23. A young patient comes to emergency with intake of some substance. His pulse rate is 130 per minute. Pulse rate is elevated. Respiratory rate is elevated, as you can see. Blood gas analysis show metabolic acidosis. Urinary analysis show calcium oxalate crystals. Okay. He improves on gastric lavage, ethanol, calcium gluconate and 4-methylparazole. What is the poison? The real clincher is here. Calcium oxalate crystals. Remember two names when we talk about calcium oxalate crystals. One is oxalic acid. Second is ethylene glycol. Okay, both produce calcium oxalate crystals in the body. Now out of the two, which one is given in the question? Option number B, ethylene glycol is given in the question itself. Question number 24. Jackknife position causes death due to. This question actually came in an AIIMS examination word to word few years back. The correct answer is positional asphyxia. Jackknife position is the nose to knee position, or you can say chest to knee bend of the body. So if you bend while you are standing, if you bend to touch your knee, you will see that your respiration becomes difficult. Whenever your lungs go below the level of diaphragm, the respiration becomes difficult. If somebody is stuck in that position, he ultimately may succumb to asphyxia. That is called as positional asphyxia. Okay, so jackknife position is positional asphyxia. Last question. Range of the gunshot wound is. We talked about this in DVT. Also very important. What we can see is that there is a central entry wound which you can see as a neat hole, and all around the central entry wound is tattooing. We cannot see any burning, singeing or blackening. You can see the area is nice white, which means it is not a close or a contact kind of a wound. Close or contact इसलिए भी नहीं हो सकते because look at the size of the entry wound. It is nice neat hole corresponding to the diameter of the bullet, which means it could either be distant or it could be somewhere in the intermediate range. Now it cannot be distant because tattooing is present. So correct answer is intermediate. Correct answer is intermediate. Okay, great guys. I could see that all of you were asking, answering along with me, and great quick fire session. See you next time in next session. I hope it was informative for you. These are high yield areas of MCQs from forensic medicine, which has kind of repeated itself over last many years. Keep revising these topics. Do not leave these topics, and I'm sure your results are going to be magnificent.